3 years ago, at the residence location. At Hanoya Island Zoo, the giant pandas Yuan Yuan and Mammon were born successfully. The next baby panda. The baby panda has eye patches, one large and one small. Unique in the entire history of pandas. So it quickly became popular online. According to statistics from the Global Streaming Platform Alliance, the baby panda's fans have exceeded 700 million. Meanwhile, a Middle Eastern tycoon hurried back to his mansion. Wearing a headdress, he is the world's richest man. The world's richest man actually faced a problem. His subordinates reported that they could buy it. But the price is a bit steep. But as long as there's a price, for a tycoon like him, it's no problem. He immediately agreed. Meanwhile, Uncle Long drove his car crashing into the church. The next moment, killers descended from above. Warriors in black charged with knives. Uncle Long blocked the sword with his gun. This is clearly a tribute to the Shadow Corps from Jackie Chan Adventures. Uncle Long unleashed his power. In a few moves, he knocked them all down. Unfortunately, the bullets were quickly used up. In the struggle, Uncle Long was attacked by a killer. Shot and sent flying through a person. Just as Uncle Long fell, the director hiding in the shadows immediately shouted cut. Turns out they were filming a movie. Director. Yes. This performance is very satisfying. Too unreasonable. I wiped out an entire squad by myself. Suicide Squad. Am I cheating? It's a commercial film, but it needs to be more thrilling. Uncle Long was fed up. He strongly urged his agent to take on art films next. Then, the two began to discuss. Next trip. Noah Zoo wants Uncle Long to sponsor a panda. Uncle Long's eyes lit up at the idea, and immediately accepted the invitation. News of Uncle Long adopting a panda went viral, drawing massive attention online. Soon, Uncle Long arrived at No Islands with his agent. The zoo director gave them an enthusiastic welcome, even arranging a special song and dance performance. Uncle Long boarded the tour vehicle for a zoo tour guided by the director. Fans flocked to catch a glimpse of the star, as the group enjoyed their visit, feeding animals up close, and having a blast. Meanwhile, Tony the Pandabot was charming every girl he met, as usual. Panda keeper Xiaozu noticed feeding time had arrived, handing Tony the empty basket, and retrieving one filled with fresh bamboo, before heading off with a warm bottle for the panda cub. But the cub, Baby Bao, had climbed a tree, and stubbornly refused to come down. Xiaozu sighed, facing unexpected overtime. Later, she found herself at the ice cream stall. Hearing her friend met Uncle Long in person, Xiaozu, his biggest fan, was absolutely green with envy. Just then, ice cream vendor Boss Gia scoffed at Xiaozu. Such a country bumpkin. Celebrities aren't that special. I may sell ice cream now, but back in Hollywood days, I served A-listers daily. Suddenly, Uncle Long approached the stand. Buying. Selling? Selling ice cream? Xiaozu watched Uncle Long get ice cream, and nervously approached him. I'm the panda keeper, she introduced. Then gathered courage to ask questions. Uncle Long boasted. Ask whatever you want. How much do you have? Go ahead, ask. How many girlfriends have you had? Just as the atmosphere turned awkward, stingy Boss Gia showed up with a giant ice cream, completely free of charge. Seeing Boss Gia's unusual enthusiasm, Uncle Long worried they couldn't finish all that ice cream. So he suggested changing locations, asking, how about visiting the pandas? So they headed to the panda pavilion. After disinfecting, they entered the enclosure. As they searched for Dabao, the cub suddenly latched onto Uncle Long's leg, whimpering softly, absolutely adorably lethal. Uncle Long lifted Dabao up. The sweetie seemed to adore Uncle Long, but had a peculiar habit. When feeling comfortable around someone, he'd relax and pass gas. Meanwhile, aboard an illegal vessel in international waters, this mercenary crew had taken the oil tycoon's contract, with the deposit paid, and urgent delivery demanded. It was time to snatch the goods. Their leader, Cha-Kun, addressed his men. Who's up for a trip to the zoo? Some grumbled that elite mercenaries raiding a zoo was beneath them. But hearing the panda was worth $100 million, they were instantly champing at the bit to go. Soon after, as zoo guards chatted idly, a mercenary infiltrated the ventilation ducts above. He swiftly subdued one guard, stunning the other into silence. Turns out his partner got stuck fast in the duct opening, after taking on two opponents at once. Not only did the bodyguard not help, he needed rescuing too, and getting his rookie accomplices down from the vents. After some struggle, they finally completed the mission, shutting down the surveillance. The moment Ahui got the message, he immediately led his large team to storm the zoo. Meanwhile, everyone inside the zoo remained completely unaware. Today was the panda adoption press conference. Noah Zoo had gathered reporters for the event, and held a grand adoption ceremony. Uncle Long, as the adopter, took the stage to speak, but his agent was distracted. He'd taken a fancy to the quirky keeper, Xiaozu. and deliberately tried chatting her up. However, Xiao Zhu had zero interest in him. Meanwhile, the mercenaries met no resistance. Reaching a sign, one team headed for central control, and another for the Panda pavilion. Soon, numerous mercenaries entered the pavilion, spotted by the agent who was picking out souvenirs. He ducked for cover, secretly observing, and realized these intruders were actually armed. They were definitely up to no good. Now, they'd cut all surveillance in the Panda pavilion, and locked every other exit. The main gate was the only way out, and the mercenaries' keycards gave them free passage. Meanwhile, inside the pavilion, Uncle Long held the wriggling cub, showing it off to the reporters. This was the final part of the adoption ceremony, when suddenly, mercenaries stormed in. One shot blasted a robot to pieces, sending reporters screaming. Everyone followed orders, crouching with hands on heads. "Don't panic too much," barked Jiguan Chu. "Their target is the Panda, not humans." Meanwhile, mercenaries stormed into the central control room with guns, and seized control. But the zoo director refused to surrender, yelling, "My sons only too. Stop that." Suddenly, the mechanist knocked the director unconscious. That's when the mechanist spotted Uncle Long behind the glass. Recognizing the legendary martial arts superstar, the trio rushed inside, with two underlings being diehard fans, raving about his fighting skills, fueling the mechanist's competitive spirit. While Uncle Long just wanted to shout, "Run now!" Zhu tried calling for help, but all signals were jammed. Uncle Long handed Da Bao to Zhu, and moved to check outside, only to bump into mercenaries. Zhu hid clutching Da Bao, as Uncle Long deliberately misdirected them, while distracting the Mohawk leader, so Zhu could escape with Da Bao. But they were spotted. Zhu triggered the decontamination protocol, trapping two mercenaries while Uncle Long battled the mechanist. Uncle Long struggled without his Furniture City advantage, pinned down by the mechanist. When Uncle Long reached for props, the tactic-savvy mechanist countered. Their fight spilled into the bear enclosure, where the mechanist locked the door. Uncle Long blurted, "The wooden frame makes a better arena," actually plotting his escape. But the mechanist wasn't finished fighting. They won't let Uncle Long walk away that easily. After a few moves, Uncle Long slammed hard into a wooden post. The pain was unbearable, so he offered to surrender, but Mechanism Head wasn't buying it. Uncle Long whipped out a bamboo strip and started thrashing him. Finally pushed to his limit, Mechanism Head furiously drew his pistol. Meanwhile, Piggy cradled a bow and sneaked away like a thief. She desperately tried to avoid the mercenary sight, but guards were still patrolling the lobby. Piggy hugged the walls, diving to the floor whenever a guard turned. She slid all the way into the Panda Pavilion gift shop. To her surprise, the agent was hiding inside a glass display tube. He urgently waved Piggy inside. The trio vanished into a mountain of plush toys. The agent vowed fiercely, swearing he'd protect Piggy. Just then, the two disinfected mercenaries were released. They stormed into the gift shop. A quick search found nothing at first, but one mercenary spotted the glass tube. He instantly knew where they were hiding. As they yanked the door open, a panda mascot suit nearby suddenly moved. It lured the mercenaries away, saving Piggy and Dabao just in time. The three fought chaotically, throwing wild punches and kicks. But soon, the mascot was overpowered, pinned down. With brute force, they ripped the costume off the agent, then knocked him cold with a vicious punch. Piggy seized the distraction, slipping away unnoticed again. Meanwhile, Uncle Long was still fighting, his duel growing fiercer by the second. Tempers were flaring hot. Uncle Long desperately clung to him. Jiguan Chu then spun around with Uncle Long. Finally, they crashed through the glass, landing outside. Coincidentally, Xiaozu had also slipped here. He secretly pointed to the elevator for Uncle Long. Uncle Long immediately caught on. After a few random gestures, he immediately ran towards the elevator. Xiaozu also managed to lock them out. They reached the first floor. As soon as they opened the elevator door, they saw Tony. Then Tony arrived on the second floor. Meanwhile, Uncle Long and the others ran into another exhibit, though they wrapped the door handle with clothes. But it wouldn't hold for long. Uncle Long led Xiaozu along the artificial stone wall. When they reached the end, he then tossed Xiaozu onto the panda below. Then Uncle Long jumped down too. When Jiguan Chu broke through the door, the two had already boarded the sightseeing vehicle, with Xiaozu, familiar with the park, directing them. They quickly left the surveillance area. But the agent, who had heroically tried to save the beauty, was captured. Meanwhile, Xie-Kun received a call from his men. He learned that the panda had been snatched by Uncle Long. Seeing that Jiguan Chu had failed, he had to go himself. Meanwhile, Tony returned to the charging station. Dabao was also set free. As for the agent, only one guard was watching them in the hall, and he dared to play on his phone. The others saw this. They began to help free the agent. So the next second, the agent grabbed the rifle, which was also held by a mercenary. The two began to struggle over it. The others were led by the zoo director. They swarmed in to pin down the mercenaries. This small group of mercenaries got tied up. Zoo staff ushered reporters to safety. The director headed to restore communications and call for backup. Elsewhere, Long and the team reached the warehouse, only to find Dabao missing from the crate. They frantically searched around and finally spotted the cub in a bamboo shoe pile. Their relief was short-lived. As mercenaries stormed in, spotting a side exit across the warehouse, they tried sneaking toward it, but got caught. Hesitant to shoot near the panda, the mercenaries held their fire. Long guided Zoo up to the top level, with mercenaries scaling after them. Go! Long yelled, fending off pursuers. To buy Zoo time. Mid-fight, he accidentally slid down riding a thug, delighting two nearby fans who gasped, just like in his movies. Meanwhile, Long fought fluidly in the warehouse, improvising weapons from scattered props. Jiguan Chu reached the roof via elevator, just as Long battled fiercely below. Fuming, he jammed the down button, while Long spotted Zoo in peril, and scrambled back upward. Who's the genius that called the elevator? Jiguan Chu roared in frustration. Long ziplined over, catching Dabao and Zoo mid-fall. He lowered Zoo to safety, but mercenaries closed in again. After securing Dabao, he backflipped down with an extendable kick, only to find Zoo captured by another squad. As they demanded Dabao for Zoo's exchange, Long's hand slipped toward something pink. A pistol holstered at his waist restrained several people with a swift backhand, but Mechanism Head suddenly slammed the conveyor belt. Watching as Dabao was being transported away, Uncle Long and Mechanism Head struggled onto the conveyor belt as they fought. Xiao Zhu and Lin Chi grabbed Dabao's crate and tried to escape, but the gangsters clearly moved faster. Xiao Zhu was surrounded from all sides, helpless. At that moment, the other two were also transported out. They were bundled together. However, Uncle Long pressed his gun against Mechanism Head's head. His subordinates had to surrender their weapons as ordered. Meanwhile, the agent opened the ventilation panel and slipped quietly into the warehouse. Just as the agent was about to leave, Mechanism Head's men discovered that the pistol was still on the conveyor belt, which meant Uncle Long had no gun in his hand now. So the agent was yanked back by a thug. The other henchmen quickly separated Uncle Long and his companions. Then, Mechanism Head grabbed Uncle Long, who was trying to crawl away. Once again, at this critical moment, the agent discovered a life-saving manual, titled Electric Lift Truck Operation Manual. He took it out and examined it carefully. Then he sat down in the forklift driver's seat, just as Uncle Long was about to be strangled. The agent drove the forklift, speeding along, and immediately after, Xiao Zhu bit the female subordinate, who was watching the show, hard on the thigh. Mechanism Head saw her driving toward him. Terrified, he quickly dodged aside. Uncle Long helped Xiao Zhu tackle the female subordinate. Then they carried Dabao onto the forklift. Immediately, they reversed out of the warehouse, leaving all the gangsters behind. Meanwhile, the director arrived at the control room with a gun. Push the gun to the head of the gangster who was working too hard. Capture all the staff members. Returning to their posts, Central Control successfully resolved the crisis. The commander arranged for personnel to evacuate tourists from the island. However, the gangsters damaged the power module of the communication base station. It will take some time to restore the equipment to operation. At the same time, Jiguan Chu got into a car, chasing after Uncle Long. They were quickly surrounded from both sides. Amid the struggle, Dabao was flung out. Luckily, Uncle Long leaped to catch Dabao, but the agent was dragged out by a female subordinate. He quickly hooked the lever with his foot, lifting Uncle Long and the others up. Uncle Long saw the agent was in trouble, quickly jumped down, kicked the woman down, then forcefully broke free from Jiguan Chu. Only then could he lower the screaming piggy. The zoo director also saw them on the surveillance. After Uncle Dong drove the forklift, he directly lifted Jiguan Chu's car with it. Of course, one car was taken out, but the remaining two cars were still in hot pursuit. Seeing there was no road ahead, watching remotely in real time, the zoo director quickly ordered the staff to open the gate. Then, timing it perfectly, had the staff press the close button and step back. Uncle Long slipped in just in time, while the pursuers were blocked outside. The zoo director couldn't help but feel proud of his cleverness. But Uncle Long and the others realized it was the zoo director helping from the control room. They faced the camera. After thanking him, they continued inward. But they completely missed the warning sign for the beast area. As the forklift kept moving inward, suddenly the car came to a stop. At that moment, the agent spotted a lion nearby. As a result, Dabao cried out from hunger. To stop Dabao from making noise, they had to find milk for him quickly. So they targeted the female rhino who had just given birth. But who would milk her was the question. Shortly after, Uncle Long and his agent led the little rhino away. They took out an empty milk bottle. They approached the rhino to milk it. Suddenly, the agent sensed danger behind him. He turned around and quickly nudged Uncle Long. Sure enough, A male rhino stood right behind them. The next moment, they both started running wildly. The male rhino chased after them relentlessly. It seemed the agent was running much faster than Uncle Long. Meanwhile, the gang leader Chakun arrived on the island with more men. He ordered his men to secure the dock, and not to let any boats pass. The director immediately spotted them on the surveillance. He told the staff to find a safe hiding spot quickly, while he himself stayed in the control room. Soon after, 2 smoke bombs were tossed into the room, followed by mercenaries storming inside. Countless red laser dots appeared on the director. He had no choice but to surrender his weapon. Then McHugh swaggered in arrogantly. He ordered the director to open the gate to the beast zone. To his surprise, the zoo director chose to destroy the control panel. Chakun was ruthless. He directly grabbed the director by the neck and choked him unconscious. Now they had no choice but to blast the gate open. Soon, the mercenaries began a thorough search. Piggy led them to the lighthouse. This place has been abandoned for a long time. Outsiders certainly wouldn't know. After finding Uncle Long and flipping the switch, they should go up first to check for danger. Confirm it's safe first, then bring them up. At night, Dabao settled down after drinking rhino milk. Xiaozu and Uncle Long leaned on the railing to chat. He loves pandas so much. That's why he became a panda keeper. In college he volunteered constantly, living with giant pandas day and night. He's been doing this for 5 years now. Actually today, Xiaozu wrote a resignation letter, because his parents want him to quit. Xiaozu asked Uncle Long, after filming fight scenes for so many years, "What keeps you going?" "The director's call to action," replied Uncle Long. "Before hearing action, I'm scared and exhausted too. But when I hear that word, I become a hero who can do anything." Early next morning, mercenaries kept searching. They found the drone perched on a lamp, so Uncle Long bricked it down. But eventually all were captured and taken aboard. Xiaozu can tend the panda. Uncle Long's hostage value brings big money. When it was the agent's turn, he ordered his men, dump him overboard. Meanwhile, Xiaozu and Dabao were locked up. He secretly called for help with his smartwatch. At mealtime, the agent arrived with 2 young fans. They'd brought him along. Brother Ren. Turns out the fans took the agent to their room, then started stealing keys, while showing their Uncle Long tattoos. Both were diehard Uncle Long fans. The agent also learned from them. Chakun is stealing the panda to sell to a wealthy businessman, but he doesn't know exactly which wealthy businessman it is. As soon as the ship docks, the panda will be sold off. Finally, the 2 don mercenary outfits and head to the corridor. They happen to run into Dabao, who's being taken away. They split up. The agent goes to save Xiaozu, while Uncle Long chases after Dabao. Meanwhile, the ship is about to dock. Dabao is loaded into a car, so Uncle Long decides to tail the vehicle. He tells the other 2 to run out and call the police. Xiaozu, seeing this, quickly hands her phone watch to Uncle Long. Then Uncle Long sneaks into the trunk and leaves with the car. Meanwhile, 2 fans provide cover, urging them to escape on a motorcycle, but neither knows how to ride it, and they're caught by Jaguan Head. Suddenly, sirens blare around Jaguan Head. Jaguan Head urgently orders his men to guard the gate. Meanwhile, Chakun arrives at the buyer's lavish estate. They carry Dabao into the house. Uncle Long stealthily follows them. As Chakun tries to hike the price on the spot, Uncle Long emerges without raising his gun. But distracted, he gets his pistol kicked away by Chakun. A chaotic 3-way fight erupts instantly. Outnumbered, Uncle Long struggles. He fights back using props around him, managing to take down one opponent, leaving just him and Chakun one-on-one. At that moment, Uncle Long spots Dabao darting up the stairs. He rushes after, but Chakun relentlessly pursues, grabbing Uncle Long in a chokehold. Uncle Long is about to pass out from exhaustion, but he summons his strength and snaps back awake. Uncle Long picks up Dabao. Chakun lunged at him again. Uncle Long shoved panda dung into his mouth, then pummeled him with rapid punches. Just as police arrived, he kicked the thug flying. The tycoon approached Uncle Long, asking him to follow. His daughter was diagnosed with leukemia half a year ago. Coincidentally, when Dabao was born, she adored Dabao after seeing the panda on TV, visiting the zoo weekly, until her condition worsened. He just wanted the panda to comfort his daughter. Uncle Long immediately brought Dabao back, fulfilling the girl's wish. Later, Zhu returned to China.